Hello, boys and girls. Greg from the Scary Spirits Podcast, here to make you another cocktail. Tonight's cocktail is called the Omen. We're going to start shaker with ice. To that, we're going to add Rose's lime juice, 2 parts. My parts, I'm using half an ounce, so 1 ounce Rose's lime juice. Next, sour mix. Two parts sour mix, so 1 ounce. Vodka, 4 parts. So, 2 ounces. One. Two. Then we shake. We're going to take our cocktail glass, strain into a cocktail glass, and we add a dash of cranberry juice. Doop. And there you have it. The Omen. Wow. It's pretty good. Alright. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the podcast. See ya.
If a movie starts off with a baby switcheroo, like this week's episode of the Scary Spirits Podcast, number 66, The Omen, you have to figure there's going to be trouble. And if that's what you're expecting, buckle in. You won't be disappointed. Trust me when I tell you, you won't look at Sweet and Innocent the same way ever again. And for the love of all things holy, check your kids' heads. Cheers!
Welcome to the Scary Spirits Podcast. Please be advised that the presenters may use adult language and/or discuss adult situations. This podcast is not intended for younger listeners or those that may be easily offended. So, if you're ready, let's go.
Hi, I'm Greg,
Hey, I'm Karen.
and welcome to the Scary Spirits Podcast, the podcast that combines the two very different but highly compatible worlds of scary films and alcoholic spirits.
What could possibly go wrong?
Indeed. How are you, Karen?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you, Greg?
I'm good.
Okay, I'll take that. You're welcome for asking.
Thanks for asking.
Of course. It's what we do.
I don't believe we have any corrections this week, but who knows? I'm usually a couple weeks behind on those, so we'll see.
Ooh, there's anticipation.
So, Karen, I believe this was my choice. Was it? Was it not?
Well, before we get into that, we have something to talk about.
Oh, go on.
Have you forgotten already? It's our big contest.
Is that thing still going on?
It is. This is the last week.
The last week. Okay.
Anyone who wants to win a $100 Amazon gift card can email us at info@scaryspirits.com. Put contest in the subject line and just put your name in the body of the email. And bam, you could be a winner.
Yeah. We will pick a winner at random, Karen. I may put everyone's name in a hat. I may put them in a spreadsheet and do like a random number generation. Who knows? We'll see.
You're sounding so cool right now.
So when do they have to have their email in, Karen? By end of the month, which is
I said July 31st, but you, being the benevolent man that you are, gave them till August 1st.
Okay. So what does that mean?
That means that at the end of the day on August 1st or the end of the evening, that's our cutoff.
Okay.
info@scaryspirits.com.
So by
midnight,
Monday, August 1st, Eastern
Standard time. Yes.
Okay.
So email us today.
Yes, you could be a big wiener. All right, Karen. So I believe this film was my choice. Was it? Was it not?
It was.
So for this week's episode 66 of the Scary Spirits podcast, I have chosen the 1976 film, The Omen, Karen.
Any particular reason? Is it because it's the 66th episode?
No, it is not, Karen. It has nothing to do with it.
That's just a happy coincidence?
Yeah. It just so happens that Friday is David Warner's birthday.
Okay.
Plays a very important character in the film.
Who does he play, Greg?
He plays Keith Jennings, Karen.
The
photographer.
Awesome.
And he's played many, many, many characters. You may know him from the original Tron. He was in that. He was the bad guy in that.
So you have a particular liking for this man? Or you just like the movies he's been in?
Yeah, I like the movies he's been in. He was in The Man with Two Brains.
Well, that sounds like a good one.
Yeah. Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country.
Oh, that's where I probably know him from. Star Trek 6.
In the Mouth of Madness, which is on my list of films to do, Karen. He's in that. Titanic. And more and more and more. Lots of movies, including Mary Poppins Returns.
Everyone's favorite.
Yes, but I like him in this one especially.
Okay, well, happy birthday.
Yes, he is. I think he'll be 82.
So still.
No, he'll
still
be 81.
Kicking?
He'll be 81. He's aged 80 right now. Yeah, as of this recording, Karen, he is still kicking.
Let's hope we didn't jinx him.
And I do have a cocktail, Karen.
Excellent. What's that?
Karen, I'm way wicked clever this week, and I've come up with a cocktail called The Omen.
Oh, I hope the listener can follow that logic.
Would you like to know how to make it, Karen?
Of course.
We're going to take our shaker with ice, and to that, we're going to add 2 parts lime juice, 2 parts sour mix, 4 parts vodka. Then we shake, 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 Karen. Karen, what did you use as your part?
Half an ounce.
So did I. You shake, 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 strain into a cocktail glass, and then you add a splash of cranberry juice.
It's tasty.
It is. I like it.
And you'll like it too. So gather your ingredients and get shaken.
Hold on. And we're back.
Yes, we are.
I found that recipe, Karen, on a YouTube channel called DIY Projects.
Oh, cool. That's a good project.
Yeah. Apparently some guy at the Kitty, I think it's called the Kitty Lounge or the Kitty Bar or something in LA. I don't know. He came up with this on a trip to, I don't know, Bermuda or the Caribbean or something. Wanted something refreshing to drink while he was there. So he came up with this cocktail on the plane.
But why did he call it The Omen?
Well, he originally called it something else, but his name is Damien. So the bar owner said, no, that's going to be called The Omen.
That's awesome.
So that's why it's called The Omen. Name is Damien.
Nice.
All right, Karen, are we ready to get into it? Anything else we need to cover?
Would you like a synopsis?
Oh my God, I would love a synopsis of this film.
You do love a good synopsis.
I do. Go on, Karen. Tell me a story.
The Omen. American diplomat Robert adopts Damien when his wife Katherine delivers a stillborn child. After Damien's first nanny hangs herself, Father Brennan warns Robert that Damien will kill Katherine's unborn child. Shortly thereafter, Brennan dies, and Katherine miscarries when Damien pushes her off a balcony. As more people around Damien die, Robert investigates Damien's background and realizes his adopted son may be the Antichrist.
Well, that just ruins the whole fucking film, Karen, right there.
Not really.
Okay. That's
what a synopsis
it's a good
is.
synopsis. All right. Are you ready to get into it?
Yes.
Did you watch this on Amazon Prime, Karen?
I did.
I have the DVD special edition, Karen.
Of course you do.
Here. I could not do this if I didn't have the DVD.
We should start linking those in our show notes to Amazon in case anyone wants to buy it after our.
I even watched a little bit of the documentary 666 The Omen Revealed, which is pretty interesting. I've seen it before, but it's been a while. So have you seen this film before, Karen?
I had not.
Okay. I've seen it many times.
I've seen pieces, but never the whole thing.
You know, I'll never forget the first piece I saw. I remember it to this day. It was like on some award show or something back way back, Karen, in 1976. Or it might have been even 77 when the award show, because the film came out in 76, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was either like a People's Choice or, whatever, one of those award shows, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I'm familiar.
The clip they showed from the film when it was nominated, maybe it was for special effects or something, but I think
it was nominated for soundtrack. I think for an Oscar.
Well, that could have been it. Could have been it too. But the clip they showed was Father Brennan's death.
Well, that's pretty striking.
Yes, and it stuck with me all these years, Karen. Can you believe my parents let me watch that when I was just a wee little baby, Karen, way back in 1976? Can you believe they showed that scene on network television?
Did you see it in the theater?
No.
Oh.
But they showed that clip on some award show that was like on primetime TV of Dr. Brennan Father Brennan being impaled.
That's all you needed. That's the movie for me.
Right. My life was forever changed after that moment, Karen. I went upstairs and put on my Kiss Destroyer album and my headphones and went to sleep and dreamt sweet dreams.
Awesome.
All right, but enough about me. Are we ready to get into it?
Yep.
All right. Film opens and we have credits. And the first thing I wrote, Karen, was great soundtrack.
It's a really good soundtrack.
Jerry Goldsmith. It's a very good one. It's actually been on my Amazon list for quite a while to actually purchase.
It definitely adds to the movie. It really makes a difference. It would be a different movie without it, I think.
And we learned that it is on the screen. It says Rome, June 6th, 6 a.m., Karen.
Okay.
666, Karen.
I'm following you.
Okay. Who we learn is Robert Thorne. He's learned his child has died. You're stillborn, whatever, right?
Yes, the child is dead. I like the line. He breathed for a moment, then he breathed no more.
Yeah, he's replaying in his head. We don't hear the conversation of them telling this, but he's rushing to the hospital because he just got the call, probably, right?
Yes.
Anyway, he goes to the hospital and there's a bunch of nuns, Karen, and Father Spiletto. And he says, well, you can adopt a child. And, of course, Robert says, well, Kathy always wanted her own. And
wait,
so she doesn't have to know.
Okay, but first, before we go any further, this is one of my main problems with this movie.
Problem?
She wanted her own.
Yeah. Well,
as an adopted parent, I will tell you, That's bullcrap. Your adopted child is your own. All you adopted parents out
if
there.
If you're not planning to adopt, you want your own, though, right?
An adopted child is your own.
It is, but
if you wanted your own biological child, that's different. But the way they phrase these, sometimes people will ask me when I introduce my children and say they're adopted, oh, didn't you want your own? Right in front of my children. Like, these are my own. Thank you. They are. It's just a little.
Yes, I own them. They are mine.
Yes. Yes.
They shall do my bidding.
It's not a big deal. It's just a wording thing that people who have adopted children will be sensitive to a lot of the time.
I could see that.
But it's fine. I'm just saying, I hate when people say that. I understand the situation. She was not expecting to adopt a child. She was pregnant. She had a full-term pregnancy, right? She birthed a child and she expected that child. So that's not my point of contention. It's just the wording. But anyway, Proceed. It's a little thing
I get it.
Has nothing to do with the movie.
I get it.
But yeah, this priest is rather slippery for a priest.
Is he? I haven't had much dealings with priests, Karen.
Well, they're not really supposed to lie. But he suggests hiding the fact that the baby is adopted from his wife. That's a pretty big secret to keep.
Yeah, so they show him the baby through the glass, right? And I wrote, it's a nice shot with the reflections in the glass of Robert and the priest. There's lots of shots in this film that involve reflections. Well, I think this is kind of interesting.
Yes.
Did you notice that?
Yes. And by the way, this isn't how adoption's done. They don't just bring a baby and say, here you go.
Well, in Rome, maybe they do.
No.
At a place with a bunch of nuns and a priest. I don't know. Maybe that's what they do. It's no hospital I've been in. I can tell you that.
But so she birthed the baby. It's stillborn. I mean, we see him driving to the hospital. He knows the baby's dead. So was she out of it, or because it's been a significant amount of time that she hasn't seen her baby.
Yeah, I suppose she was out of it.
Because she doesn't seem to notice that he brings a baby in and she's like, oh, our baby. But if you birthed a baby and it was gone for half an hour, wouldn't you start to think, wait, is something going on? What's happening?
Don't know, Karen. I never been in a delivery room, but I assume she was out of it. That's my assumption.
But so he decides
to do this, way back in 1976.
He decides to do the switcheroo.
He learns that this baby boy was born the same time as his, but its mother died just as his child died, right? And it has no relatives.
Conveniently.
Yes, and the priest says, in this night, Mr. Thorne, God has given you a son. So Robert takes the kid to Kathy and, she's happy and doesn't know any different.
No, and they're very much in love.
Yeah, you
He's
can tell.
Very happy.
They show that quite a bit.
They do.
Next, we see that Robert has been named ambassador to Great Britain. Apparently his best friend's now the president, although we don't know who that president is, but must have been like Jimmy Carter, right? Something like that.
But they leave Rome.
Yep. Head to Great Britain. Kathy picks a house.
And holy crap.
Well, he's ambassador.
Yeah, well, so that made me look up how much does an ambassador make? This is it's a mansion. It's a big house.
Yeah.
How much do you think an ambassador makes?
In 1976?
Well, I have 2022's numbers.
I don't know. It's six figures for sure. Probably for life or some stupid shit too.
Or maybe you don't have to pay for a lot of stuff, like transportation. You get all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the embassy provides all that shit, I'm sure. How much?
Ballpark, try.
Six figures wasn't enough? Am I right? It's six figures, right?
It's 148,000 to 223,000.
Okay.
But that house looked like he was making like $1 million or something. That was a big house and they furnished it.
It's true. I mean, hell, Churchill lived in a a townhome, right? A flat.
Yeah, I'm just saying it was a little out of proportion to the salary. It's gorgeous, though.
It is.
And yeah, they're Americans. I didn't really realize that until this moment.
They're Americans.
I didn't know they were Americans.
Okay. You didn't know Gregory Peck was an American?
Well, I didn't know the characters were American.
Do you know I was named after Gregory Peck, Karen?
I did not. You mentioned it last week, but
I was.
did your mom have a slight crush?
I think she did. I think she liked Gregory Peck. I don't know, especially in To Kill a Mockingbird.
That's a good one.
But they kiss. You know, we see again how much they love each other.
Yeah, they close the curtains. They do
Yeah.
more than kiss. They kissy face, but we don't see it.
Well, he says, let's go upstairs, check out the upstairs. There's no furniture, but apparently they don't care.
They make do. But they love each other. They're a very happy couple.
Robert even says Kathy may be too sexy for the White House.
Yeah.
Because apparently she thinks he's going to be president one day.
Yeah, they have ambitions.
Next, we have a montage, Karen. I wrote, strolling through the estate.
Happy family images, the montage.
Then Damien gets lost and they panic. But that's a false alarm because he's just standing there behind a tree. Then we have another montage, Karen, of family photos with Damien. So I think they're trying to show the passage of time.
Yes. Because when it stops, it's his birthday party.
Yep. 5th birthday party.
And it's a big party.
Yeah. And this is when we meet Keith Jennings, David Warner, for the first time, Karen.
Yes, there are photographers at the party. They're paparazzi.
And Damien has a nanny named Holly, although she's just credited as Nanny, but the actress's name is Holly. So but Kathy calls her Holly. Kathy takes Damien from Holly because I think they're getting ready to take some photos, and I think she wants to be in the photos with Damien and not Holly or something.
Yeah, there's a
like
weird
that.
look exchange there, but I don't know what it was. But I think, yes, she thinks that she should be the one in the pictures with him.
Yeah. Karen, don't you have a dog?
I do have a dog.
You do? What kind of dog is it, Karen, by chance?
It's a Rottweiler.
Oh, what a quinky dink, because that's the next thing we see, Karen, a Rottweiler. Watching the party, staring at Holly.
Before we go any further, the Rottweiler's in the top 10 breeds of dogs owned in the United States. You want to guess what number in the top 10?
I'm going to say 4.
You give them too much credit. They're 8.
Okay.
But they're popular.
I mean, they're big dogs. I mean, it does, you know what I mean? I could
Yeah.
see where they might be a little lower.
They actually skyrocketed
Probably
in
like
popularity.
Chihuahuas are number 1 or something.
Labs are one.
Yeah,
Labs
I
are
thought
number
that too.
After this movie came out, they skyrocketed in popularity. I worked with a lot of dog breeders, and when I was in California with my business, and breeders hate when movies like this come out because everybody like 101 Dalmatians. They hate when that comes out because everybody wants a Dalmatian, and Dalmatian's actually a hyper dog.
It is.
In this movie, the Rottweiler is shown in not the best light,
Well,
but as a vicious kind of
not
guard
necessarily.
dog.
It's protective, which you would
But
probably want a
people-
protective dog.
and
for your
they
family.
are, but they're not usually that aggressive. I had Dobermans for a long time, and Dobermans are very elegant and scary dogs.
They're
Rottweilers
stupid, though.
no, they're not. They're smart.
In my experience, they're stupid.
No, mine weren't. But Rottweilers are they're big and bulky, and they're very protective, but they're kind of clowns. They're just goofy. Like, it's a totally different experience to have a Rottweiler. Here, I can tell you about the breed. They're 85 to 135 pounds. They're a working breed of great strength, descended from the mastiffs of the Roman legions. They're a gentle playmate and protector within the family circle. The Rottie observes the outside world with self-assured aloofness. They're very muscular. They have a glistening short black coat. Thickly muscled hindquarters powers the Rottweiler's effortless trotting gait. They're confident, courageous, and not really aggressive, but they're very protective and they will defend their owners to the death. So they're good dogs.
Okay, next we have another montage.
So
Karen.
right now I have adopted children and a Rottweiler.
Yeah.
So I'm doing pretty
You're
well
batting,
here.
batting 1,000.
Yeah.
Next we have another montage, Karen, of Damien riding rides.
Yes. The nanny does have some eyeball acting with the Rottweiler.
Yes.
Her eyes.
Lots of eyeball acting in this film as well.
Yes. Her eyes, the dog's eyes, her eyes. And then, yes, the kids having fun montage.
Next, we hear from afar Holly saying, Damien, look at me. Damien, Damien. This is another scene I saw very early, I think on some award show. So she says, look at me, it's all for you. And then she jumps off the roof.
She says, I love you. And she jumps and
hangs herself
with the rope. Yes.
She go.
And everything goes quiet as you would think
Yes.
it would. She actually jumps, hangs herself, and then swings into a window.
And Keith Jennings takes photos with his magic camera, Karen.
Yes. He does have a magic camera.
Next, we see another shot of the Rottweiler. I call him Roddies from now on.
Okay, that's fine. That's a common nickname.
And Damien waves at it.
And smiles.
Smiles. Next, we see Robert arriving at the U.S. Embassy. And of course, the press is all there asking him all kinds of questions about the suicide of his nanny. Of course, Keith Jennings is there as well with his magic camera taking pictures. And Robert accidentally breaks the camera or something.
He bumps into him and he drops it. And he apologizes.
He does profusely and says, please send me a bill for whatever it takes, to fix or replace it. And Jennings says, let's just say that you owe me.
Yeah, I think it shows that Robert's a nice guy.
He is a nice guy.
Even though they're really
it's Gregory Peck.
They're bothering him over
Gregory
something.
Peck.
Okay. But they're bothering him over something that's horrible that happened at his house. And even though he's annoyed, he does take time to say he'll pay for the camera.
Next, Robert gets a visit from Father Brennan.
See, I thought this was the same priest that gave him the kid.
No.
I know. It took me a while to realize that was not true.
He assumes that, he's asking for donations or some shit. But so he lets him in. Of course, Father Brennan comes in and starts preaching to him about how you must accept Christ as your savior.
The priest has come from Rome. Yeah. So I thought, oh.
He's killed once, he'll kill again.
It's odd because I don't know where this priest comes from and how he knows what's going on.
Well, he says he was there at the hospital and he witnessed the birth of his child. He says, I saw its mother.
He does say that. You're correct. He has all this time. He never can really just spit out what he's trying to say.
That's because he's got to recite a bunch of scripture and shit.
But it's just so confusing and rambling. And I get it that you're supposed to think he's crazy. Although if you walked into someone's office and said, oh, by the way, your son is the Antichrist, you'd think he doesn't
even say that, though.
I know, but you could say that and they would still think you were crazy. You didn't have to do all this babbling shit about taking communion. You have to drink the blood of Christ. He just rambles on and on and on. I don't know. It's frustrating. Well, just tell him what's going on.
He's desperate to save his soul, I guess.
But he doesn't even say that because he speaks in riddles.
Don't. But
it's weird.
And he starts to tell him his mother was a jet. That's all he gets out.
I rewound that several times. I was trying to say, what's he trying to say? Do you know?
I don't want to spoil it. Yeah, I know.
Okay. Oh, I think I know now. Okay.
Of course, his father, Brennan, is leaving. Keith Jennings is there and takes a photo of him with his magic camera.
Well, Robert calls security and security escorts him out. And then Peter Jennings says, Father,
Keith.
Keith turns around and takes his picture.
Like a click, 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 click. One of those pictures, right? He does that a lot. Every time he takes a picture, it's really like 20 shots.
I didn't think those cameras were able to do that, but I guess they are.
Yeah, I don't know.
You used to have to click, wind, because it's film.
You must have a fancy magic camera. I don't know.
He must.
Next, we see him, Keith Jennings, developing the film. We kind of see a line in the, the Prince of the Priest, but we don't, they don't really go into it, but there's something there.
I say you see a spear coming at him. So I saw it.
Okay.
But he's developing film in his dark room.
Yeah.
Or developing prints. So first you have to develop the negatives, and then you have to develop the prints after you put them on the enlarger and everything. But he's hanging them up to dry the old-fashioned way.
Next, Mrs. Blaylock arrives, who's the new nanny, Karen, at the Thorne residence.
She just comes in and says, "I'm the new governess."
That's right. The agency center, because, they question her later. So they don't know where she came from. And of course, she says the agency read of their old nanny's demise and sent her.
She disses young girls to get homesick and have boyfriends.
Yes, she does. And she meets Damien, and then first thing she says to him is, "Have no fear, little one. I am here to protect thee." And Damien smiles again. Next, they're going to take Damien to church, Karen, for an Episcopal wedding, apparently.
They're fancy. They're all dressed up.
Yeah, Mrs. Blaylock don't think it's a good idea, but Kathy, Damien's mother, insists. He's going.
The nanny oversteps her bounds a little bit, says he'd rather go to the park. She tries to get Kathy not to take him, but Kathy, you're right, insists. They're going to the wedding.
I made another note about the soundtrack. I make lots of notes about the soundtrack. It's good.
It is.
It builds tension, and and Damien's not happy, Karen, at the church.
As they approach the church. I guess they aren't churchgoers, because this seems to be the first time
that he's
going to church.
Special function. Yeah, he's not happy. And he fights his mother, pulls her hair, scratches her, and he keeps yelling, "Help, help, help, help."
He freaks out. Because Kathy had a turban on her head. And once Damien gets going, she doesn't have the turban on anymore.
Nope.
So it's embarrassing for them, because a lot of people are witnessing this. So they just get back in the car and go home.
Yeah. Drive. Next, they're at home talking about Damien. Maybe they should take him to a doctor. And Kathy says he's never been sick a day in his life. And Robert says, "Yeah, don't you think that's odd?"
Yeah, Robert thinks they should have a doctor examine him. And Kathy says he just had a bad moment.
Yeah.
And I wrote down, I think they both have an inkling something is really bad just happened, but they're not going to talk about it. They're just ignoring it. Okay. It was weird. And I think they know it was weird, but they don't know what to do with it. So they're going to ignore it.
Yep. Next, Robert goes to see Damien, and there's a Roddy again, Karen, guarding the door. And Robert didn't bring it into the house, so he's not too happy.
No, the nanny brought it in.
Said they found it outside. And
Damien loves it.
Well, Robert don't care. He says, if this family's going to have a dog, I'll pick it out, get rid of it tomorrow.
Yep.
Which I don't blame him.
Well, yeah, somebody brought a Rottweiler in, and it's a big house. I mean, he has to go down long hallways to get to where Damien is. You would think that you would know that there was a Rottweiler in your house, but this house is so large that he's on the other end of the house. He has to walk really far.
He's in the children's wing.
Yes.
Keep the kids away from the main house so that it's peaceful and quiet. Next, we cut to the next day, and apparently Kathy's taken Damien to the Windsor Safari Park.
Yeah, kind of like a zoo.
Once again, Karen, I wrote soundtrack. Again.
You wrote that, and I wrote Damien's in a corduroy leisure suit. I guess he's supposed to be dressed up fancy.
Then we cut back to the house, and Robert.
Wait, you're not going to talk about the animals?
Yeah. When we get to it, that's next. We cut back to the house. Robert is leaving, and Father.
I have that afterwards.
He sees Father Brennan outside. Next, baboons don't like Damien, Karen.
But you skipped the giraffes.
Giraffes. Well, they just ran away from him.
They took one look and ran off. Then they see Dad going to work, but then the baboons.
Yeah, they don't like Damien.
No, they get upset.
Yeah, real upset. It was really well filmed, don't you think?
Yeah,
They talked about how they did it in the documentary. Would you like to know how they did it?
Absolutely. How'd they do it?
Well, they said at first, the animal guy says, we won't feed them for a few hours, right? And we'll put bananas on top of the car and they will come and get the bananas. And they did, but they weren't vicious and
yeah, they just strolled up.
Weren't menacing. They just jumped on the car and ate the bananas and said, well, we can't do that. So then he says, well, the big kahuna baboon, like the leader, the alpha male, he says he does have a cut and I do need to fix it. So I'm going to put him out and fix it, right? Stitch it up, I guess. And when they did it, they put the alpha male baboon in the car while he was out, knocked out. And that made all the other baboons go crazy and attack the car.
Because they thought he was
because they thought they were taking him away.
Oh, were the kid and Kathy in there too?
They were. And he said, actually, the baboon started to come too and grabbed Lee Remick's hair.
That'd be scary.
Had to grab it and he said the kid was freaking out and they were because these baboons were they were pissed, for real.
Well, it looked it.
Yeah, it was a good scene. Well,
they
shot.
Were howling and all kinds of stuff. So yeah.
Well, basically, Kathy drives away. Right, the baboons attack the car and she drives away. And why are they driving such little cars? Why do they all have tiny cars in this?
Wasn't
except
she
when
in the
Robert's in his big limousine, but everywhere
he goes
a tiny car.
Well,
because a Yugo or something.
In Europe, gas is really expensive, so everybody usually has.
Really? Is it really expensive?
They're laughing at us.
In 1976, it was expensive,
yes,
Karen?
It's always been expensive there.
Okay.
They laugh at us when we complain about it.
Later, they call them estate cars, whatever that is. Next, we cut back to the house, though, and later that evening, I guess, and Robert and Kathy are getting ready for bed. Kathy thinks she needs to see a psychiatrist, Karen.
Yeah, she's blaming herself. She has fears, but she doesn't want to speak them aloud.
Correct. She says, find me a doctor, Robert. Next, I guess it might be the next day. I don't know. But we're at a rugby match. And of course, Keith Jennings is there taking photos with his magic camera, as well as Father Brennan. He's there too. He tells Robert that his wife is in danger. Is that all he says this time?
The priest wants to meet him at a park. Says his wife is in danger.
Says, meet me tomorrow, whatever. And we do cut. Does Jennings start developing more film again?
Yeah, he takes pictures of the priest again at the rugby match. So we get a couple of things here. Jennings seems to be a paparazzi photographer that's kind of assigned to the ambassadors or something.
But now he's curious about these pictures he's been taking.
So, yes, but he's always around the ambassador. That's it must be he has the political beat. And then this priest is following Robert everywhere he goes.
Right.
Those are the two things we kind of get from that. And he wants a meeting with Robert at the park because he says his wife's in danger, meaning Robert's wife, not the priest's wife.
Next day, we see Robert meeting with the priest. And we get a lot of scripture from the book of Revelations, Karen.
Yeah, he's speaking in weird...
Well, he's a priest.
Prophecies.
He talks about the town of Megiddo. It's the first time we hear that, I think. Tells him to go see Bugenhagen.
I thought he said Copenhagen.
Bugenhagen. And that Kathy is pregnant, he tells him.
He does also say the child must die.
It says Damien is the child of Satan. He will kill the unborn child.
Yes.
And he will kill his wife. And he will kill him too until he's the sole heir. Basically, right?
Yes. When he's ready to inherit everything, he will kill Robert. So he'll kill the unborn child first, then kill Kathy, then kill Robert.
Robert tells Father Brennan, I've listened to you. Now you listen to me. I don't want to see you ever again. And Father Brennan says, you'll see me in hell, Mr. Thorne. And there's a storm a-coming, Karen.
Well, Robert leaves at that point.
Yes, and then there's a storm a-coming. Wind starts blowing, lightning. Once again, I have written soundtrack.
Yes, and Wind Machine.
Yes, Father Brennan makes it to a church, but of course the doors are locked. The church will not let him in, apparently, Karen. Ooh.
Well, as he's trying to get to the church, he's in the park. There's really impressive rows of big trees. The wind is picking up. He can barely walk. It's so windy. He's clutching his crucifix that he's wearing. It's pretty big crucifix, about the size of his hand. He's trying to get to the church. Lightning strikes a tree. A branch falls, barely misses him. He can't get on the grounds. The gate's locked. He hops the gate to get in, but all the doors are locked.
And lightning strikes the gate after he hops it.
Yes.
And it opens.
Yes. Right after he went over it. Yes.
But eventually lightning strikes the lightning rod, Karen.
On top of the church. Yes.
And it comes crashing down and impales him, and he gone.
Skewers the priest to the ground. So it goes through him and sticks in the ground. So he's standing up. Impaled. But skewered. Yeah. And then immediately the storm abates. No storm. Blue skies.
Next, we cut back to the Thorne house again, and Damien's playing with the pool table.
Annoying his mom.
Yeah. Kathy is not amused.
She's had it.
She thinks she's having a migraine, Karen.
Yeah, she's done.
She yells for Mrs. Blaylock to get him out of here, please. So Mrs. Blaylock takes him away, and this is when she tells Robert that she's pregnant, but she doesn't want any more children.
Well, first she says she doesn't want any more children. They're looking out a window. And he says, okay. And then she says, so you're okay with an abortion?
Yeah,
and
you'll agree to an abortion then.
And he's shocked.
Yeah. Then the phone rings.
Yes.
And I think is it Jennings? You don't really know, but
I don't know who it is. He
says it's something about a newspaper. We don't hear the other person on the other line, but he does say it's something about a newspaper, and he pulls out his roll of newspapers with the mail, and there's a picture of Father Brennan skewered.
Yes.
He gone.
So Kathy also at this time asks him to go see the doctor, her doctor.
Right.
So that's what he does next.
So that's what we have next. We're at the doctor's office, and doctor's telling Robert that Kathy thinks that Damien is evil and that he's not hers and it's pure fantasy.
She's having a hard time. She says she can't cope and feels inadequate, which almost every mother does at some point. But she is having these feelings that she feels terrible about, that thinks the child is evil. And like you said, not hers, but the doctor says it's pure fantasy.
And he actually thinks it might be best if she have an abortion, doesn't he? The doctor.
But Robert's vehement against it.
Yes.
Vehemently against it.
Yes. Says no. He tells him it was foretold that the pregnancy would be terminated, and he's not going to let that happen. Fate be damned. Next, we see Damien riding his tricycle.
So when Robert leaves the doctor's office, he leaves very abruptly, and he drives kind of crazily, getting back to the house. He's driving, cars are honking at him. And Damien, they cut to Damien riding his tricycle erratically. And I thought he was going to control Robert's car. You know, like if he crashed into something, Robert was going to crash. But that's not what happened.
No, it's not what happened at all.
No, I was wrong. Damien is riding his tricycle recklessly.
And once again, I have written soundtrack. Again.
I have music, yes.
And Blaylock watching him go around and round and round in circles while Kathy is out in the hallway watering the plants.
But she can't reach a plant.
No, she has to pull out a little table to climb up on top of a landing, right? It's like a landing, a little hallway that's part of a landing. It's just like a railing there.
Yeah, she's up a story.
Yep. So Blaylock opens Damien's door because he's riding around in circles in his room.
Like he's revving up.
Yeah.
getting some speed, going round and round and round.
She opens the door and he makes a beeline for Kathy,
who's standing on a table.
Yeah.
A rickety little table.
Knocks her over and she falls.
First, a goldfish
she grabs
falls and
yeah.
hits the floor. Then she grabs onto the railing.
This is a really good scene too. Yeah.
But she can't hold on.
Nope. And she falls.
It's pretty brutal.
Baby gone, I wrote.
Well, she looks bad. Blood's coming out of her mouth. And
yeah, well, I knew it was baby. So I wrote baby gone because I knew that's what it was. But yeah.
Is this your first time listening to the Scary Spirits podcast? Or maybe you're a regular listener, but missed a few along the way. No worries. Not only can you find every episode on our website, scaryspirits.com, but you'll also get to enjoy awesome show notes too. I just want to say we really appreciate your support. Now let's get back to the show.
Next, we see Press again at the hospital. And as Robert arrives, he goes to an intensive care, and doctor tells him, yeah, she will be fine with some care. She's got internal bleeding. And he asks, well, she's pregnant. And he says, no, not no mo.
She has a concussion, a broken humerus, and internal bleeding.
Where's your humerus, Karen?
It's your upper arm.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Between your shoulder and elbow.
Gotcha. Thank you, Dr. Karen.
You're welcome. I hope that's right.
Well,
I think that's
her
right.
arm was in a cast, and it was like she was almost in a body cast with her arm up, So Robert goes to see Kathy, and Kathy says, don't let him kill me.
She's a little bit out of it, I think, from anesthesia or something. But she says, don't let him kill me.
Next thing I have is a Roddy in Damien's room. Does Robert come home, and that's when he goes to his room, and the Roddy's in there still?
Yeah. He walks past where she fell, and he is visibly upset by that.
Stops.
And then he goes to see Damien, and the dog is in there and growls at him. Right as that happens, the phone rings. So he leaves to go get the phone.
Yes.
He doesn't say anything.
And Jennings calls.
He needs to talk with him about the priest.
And he talks about the magic photos.
Robert goes to his flat or his apartment.
Basically, he tells him, I was taking pictures, and I started investigating because I wanted to figure out what was going on with these photos.
Well, he shows him the photo of the nanny. He took a photo of the nanny at the party, and you can see a rope, like a shadow of a rope behind her. And then he shows him a picture of the hanging body. And then he shows him the priest, where he's taken multiple photos. And the more photos he takes, the stronger the rod that goes through him is visually seen behind him.
Yeah, it's not touching him, but eventually it does. And it
gets darker too.
Yeah. And he says he learned from the coroner that the priest was suffering from cancer, terminal cancer, and he was basically high on morphine most of the time.
Yes.
And they did find a birthmark, Karen, on his leg.
Yeah, so I totally didn't get this part. Why does he have a birthmark on his leg?
It's a cluster of sixes.
But why? He's a priest. He's warning them.
But he abandoned Christ.
When?
When he was there at the hospital.
That's the other guy.
That's true. You're right.
Why
we don't really know Father Brennan's. Well, Father Brennan says he was there at the birth, though.
Yes, but why does he have a birthmark of 666? That's what Damien has.
That's right. He could have been he could have been the one who killed the kid. Who knows?
It's just weird that he has the birthmark. I don't get it. He's a priest. He's not, I don't know.
Huh? It's the mark of the beast, Karen.
I know. But
But I will say, I read this book before I saw the movie. I wish I remembered, but because the book may go into more detail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My grandmother, they didn't go to movies. She was like, they were farmers, right? So they didn't go to movies, but every film that came out, she bought the novelization of it. And she especially liked horror, apparently. So she had this. She had Damien Omen 2. She had Final Conflict. We used to go there like every Sunday or whatever, and I would just grab a book. Grab a book, leave a book. Grab a book, leave a book. So I read this way before I saw it. I read them all before I saw any of them, I think.
She liked horror. You probably isolated out on a farm. I wouldn't want to read horror there. She's a tough lady.
She had all Stephen King, all of his novels.
I mean, I'm just saying.
And you know what? She could knock the hell out of a crossword puzzle too.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. She knocked those out in no time. All right. So 666 birthmark. Robert says, well, I think says something about maybe a Holocaust survivor or whatever, right? Internment camp. Let's know that they say it's a birthmark
On his inner thigh.
Yeah. Next, they go to Father Brennan's room, and it's wallpapered with Bible pages and crosses all over the place. And he has a diary, and it's all about Robert, what he did every day.
And the police thought the priest was just crazy, so they let Keith rummage through it. They didn't really make any effort to see if anything nefarious had happened.
And there's newspaper clippings, and apparently there's something from like Astrologer's Monthly or something about some comet that happened on June 6th at 6 a.m. 5 years ago, the same time Damien was born. Kind of like the Star of Bethlehem, Karen. Only
Kinda.
not.
Yeah.
Then Robert comes clean to Jennings and tells him that Damien's not his child, that his child was stillborn and they swapped kids.
Well, Damien is his child, not his biological child. But he admits his biological son is dead and he doesn't know whose son he's raising, is what he says.
And then Jennings tells him that he's got some pictures of himself and there's a little something in those pictures. So he thinks his life may be in danger.
Yeah, he took a selfie in a mirror, kind of.
Accidentally.
Yeah, and he sees that there's a spike, it looked like, or looked like a lightning bolt almost.
Went through his neck.
Yes.
Next, back at the Thorne house, we learn that Mrs. Horton's gone, who is like the housekeeper or
all the servants are gone. They left a note with the addresses for their last checks.
The maid and the butler. They're married, the Hortons, and they both left. There you go. And Robert, this is where Robert brings up to Mrs. Blaylock that, hey, that damn dog was up there again. I thought I told you to get rid of it. And she says they did. They came and got him that morning, Karen.
Yeah, and she says don't worry, she can handle everything. She's making dinner.
Next, Robert and Keith Jennings are in Rome, and they're trying to find the hospital where Damien was born. But apparently it burned to the ground, Karen, that same night that he was born or something. Or shortly after, anyway.
Yeah, and it started in the record room. So there's no records left.
Nope, no records. But they do learn that Father Spiletto, who, gave Robert the whole idea of swapping kids, he is in a monastery.
So that priest is evil. Did he know what was happening at that point? Is he part of the plot?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's in a monastery. They go to find him. But on the way, we learn a lot about the Jews and returning to Zion and comets and...
Well, the prophecy that it was what
the eternal sea is politics and
Father
whatever.
Brennan spoke in prophecies, and they're kind of going over each part of it and saying what it is in modern times so that all of these things that he was talking about are now coming true. The devil's child will rise from the world of politics.
That's what the theologians say anyway. Next, we cut to the monastery, and they find Father Spiletto, but he's deaf and mute, Karen.
Well, disfigured.
Yeah, something going on with his right hand, too.
And his right eyeball.
And another priest just tells him that they take care of him, feed him, and whatever, but he has fallen from grace because he abandoned Christ. He said he told them, so he wrote it.
He just wrote 3 6s.
Mm-hmm.
The devil, the Antichrist, and false prophet. That's what supposedly
the
they stand
unholy
for.
Trinity, yeah. So then Robert questions Spiletto. He wants to know where.
Answer, he yells.
Yeah. So he writes with his left hand, scribbles, Gervete.
Where is the mother? He wants to know.
Yes.
Of the child that he has now.
And he scribbles, Gervete. The other priest tells him that that's a cemetery, an old Roman cemetery.
Etruscan cemetery, 40 kilometers north of Rome.
So next, they drive out to the cemetery.
In the dark.
Well, it's not quite dark because I wrote it's a nice sound stage. I could tell it's done indoors, right? It's a sound stage, but it's a nice shot. And it looks like either the moon is rising or the sun is setting in the background.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell, but it looks really cool.
But it's becoming evening.
Yes.
They did not wait till the next day to go.
And they find a couple graves, Karen.
Well, they have to break in first.
Yes,
it's locked. So they have to climb over the gate to get in.
With the spikies.
Yeah. And I said,
fence.
Keith should be careful near those spikes. Because I thought, I've not seen this before, so I didn't know it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And they're looking around, and I don't know if you noticed, but there's crickets, and then all of a sudden the crickets stop. And then wind picks up.
Mm-hmm. We hear Roddy's too.
Yes, they're showing their perspective.
Yeah,
you
POV,
see they're being watched.
Yep.
Yeah.
Roddy point POV is what I wrote.
Yes. At first, I'm like, well, how are they going to find the right grave? They don't know the name or anything, but they're going to look for the date of death.
Yep.
But still, that would be hard to. But they do
find it.
They do pretty quickly.
Maria
find it.
Scianna.
And an infant boy.
No, Bambino Scianna is right next to her.
Well, yeah. That's a baby boy.
Yeah, to her left, actually. But they're more like, they're almost like tombs, right?
Yeah, they're not buried in the ground. They're concrete, kind of, just with lids on them.
Right. So you remove you push the stone away and you can see what is in the grave.
Yes, the stone covering is even with the ground.
Yes.
And the grave is underneath, but it's not buried. You just have to remove the top.
Correct. So they push away the stone above Maria Scianna, and it is a jackal, Karen.
Is that what it is? See, I couldn't tell. I was like, is it I couldn't tell what it was. Okay.
A jackal.
So it's not a goat or a horse.
Jackal.
Okay. How do they know it's a jackal?
I don't know. I know, but well, they say an animal.
Okay.
They didn't really say jackal, but I know it's a jackal.
Because you read the book.
Because I read the book and the script and everything else. And then they push away the stone above Bambino Scianna.
Robert thinks, okay, if this is an animal, then maybe my son is still alive.
Right.
But they push it off, and it's a
skeleton of a baby.
With a big hole in the skull.
With a big hole in the skull. Not quite a fetus. It's a little larger than a fetus, I think. But
well, no, it was born.
I know, but still, it would be a lot smaller than it is, I think. That's a pretty big baby.
Yeah, but still, it's a tiny skeleton. But yes, well, a fetus is what's it.
I know, but you know what I'm saying. It would be.
Yeah, it's not a newborn.
Yeah,
newborns are pretty small, but it has a big hole in the skull. So his baby was murdered.
Yeah. And he says, murderers.
Yeah. Well, he's upset.
Yeah. Then we have the Roddy point of view again, and they attack Karen.
Yes, they do. And the men take off running.
4 of them. Yep.
But the dogs get to both of them.
Oh, yeah. Robert does manage to get on top of the fence, but he don't quite make it all the way over, Karen.
No, his arm gets pinned.
His arm gets caught in the spike. And they pull it off, and I said, I bet that fucking hurt.
Yeah, no kidding. Because they'd have to go up, or they just rip the flesh.
Yeah, and it's like tapered, so it would hurt more coming off than it did coming down. You know what I mean? You do more damage lifting it up.
But they do.
They would have been better to have like a hacksaw.
Yeah, they didn't have that.
Pull it all the way through. But just like when you're shot with an arrow, you don't pull it out. You want to push it all the way through because there's less damage that way. But anyway.
But they do get away.
They do.
But they are damaged, both of them, that have some scars from it.
Yeah. Next, we cut to the hospital, and Robert calls Kathy. Tells her to get ready and leave London. Her and her body cast.
Yeah. Right now.
That's right. Tom is coming to come get you. Get ready to go.
Do it.
You're going to come to Rome. So she says, okay. So we see her trying to take some sheer nightgown off that she's wearing over top of her regular nightgown or something. How'd she get all this shit on when she had this body cast on, Karen?
Assistance.
Okay. It's probably my only problem with the movie. But then we see Mrs. Blaylock has come to visit.
That was a creepy scene because she turned around and it was the nanny, and there was chanting and eyeball acting. It was creepy.
Mm-hmm. And next we see Kathy falling from the window. She gone. Falls into an ambulance.
How hard do you have to think you have to throw someone for the window to break?
I don't know.
If you think about that.
I've gone through a window or two in my day.
Oh, have you?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Probably not like a fifth floor, like hospital window. I mean, I'm sure it's different glass, but I've gone through like a glass door.
Did someone throw you or you just fell?
I just went through it.
I know, but were you running with force or?
Okay, Karen, the first time I was like in kindergarten and I had a chitty chitty bang bang helmet on and I ran to the door.
But you had a
glass
helmet.
Screen door on, glass, and I went right through it.
But helmet first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second time I was, I don't know, middle school, junior high, probably. My mom unlocked the back door for me to get in. And it was like a glass. It was like one of those,
storm door.
Nine panes of glass, with wood in between, you know what I mean? And of course the door stuck and mom wouldn't open it. She just unlocked it. So I trying to get in and I put my shoulder right through a pane of glass. That's cut up pretty good. I've gone through a couple panes of glass.
I guess it's not that hard then.
Nope. Next, we cut to Megiddo, Karen, right? Are we in Megiddo?
Well, the phone
after
rings.
Robert gets the call about Kathy.
Yeah, Robert gets the call
from Tom, who was supposed to be there to pick her up. So next, we cut to Megiddo.
Is that the town derived from the word Armageddon?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's being excavated. Robert tells Keith Jennings that he wants Damien to die too.
Yeah, he's pretty upset at this point.
Yeah. An eye for an eye, Karen. So Robert and Jennings meet Bugenhagen, who's like a expert on the Antichrist or some shit. And Bugenhagen gives Robert 7 daggers he must use to kill Damien.
Well, first he dismisses Keith, right?
Yeah. Yes. You go away. This is just for Mr. Thorne. So Jennings,
I thought that guy was a little odd.
Bugenhagen?
Yeah, I thought he I don't know. He seemed too modern or something to fit in there. I don't know, but
I don't know what he is, but exactly. It's not really explained much.
No, that's what I mean. He's just kind of this enigma. Is he a professor? Who is he?
But he has 7 daggers, Karen, used to kill the Antichrist.
Yes.
Just happens to have them. First one is the most important, and it has to be done on hallowed ground, Karen. Got to be doing it in a church. First one forms the center of the cross, right? Like the cross section of the cross, and then the other 6 are in the shape of a cross, whatever. But the first one's the most important.
It extinguishes your physical life.
And he also tells him that Damien will have the mark of the beast, a cluster of 6s. Robert says, no, I've bathed him. I know every inch of him, never seen it. And says, well, it may be beneath his hair. Shave his head. You'll find it. Right?
Yes, he says, and he tells him he has to be devoid of pity and the nanny will die defending the child.
Yes, the woman. Call him the woman. What of the woman? So next we see Robert and Jennings outside and they're debating.
Well, Jennings wants to know what did he say? What did he say? Because he was dismissed. He doesn't know. Robert says he has knives and he has to stab
wants him to kill a child.
Yeah, murder a child.
He can't do it.
He won't do it. He throws the knives. He throws them.
Jennings goes to get the daggers.
Because he's going to do it. If Robert doesn't do it, he's going to do it.
Right. And as Jennings is gathering the daggers, Karen, a truck carrying a pane of glass. The man exits the cab and accidentally knocks the emergency brake off, and the truck begins rolling down the hill, Karen, towards Jennings. And the truck hits a, obstacle, and the glass comes out of the truck and decapitates Jennings.
Yeah, Jennings looks up just in time to be decapitated.
He gone.
Cleanly. I just wrote, wow.
That's a good shot, though.
I've never seen that before. That was impressive.
They even talked about how it spun, the head spun.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't know what it would do, but it looked really cool with no blood, but it doesn't need blood. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was. I was not.
And the head lands and sees we kind of
sees its own reflection. Yeah, I thought he was just going to get run over by the truck.
Yeah,
I was not expecting a decapitation.
Yeah, that was good though. Jennings gone, I wrote. Next, we see Robert jetting home.
Looks like a private jet. So why isn't Robert killed?
Because he's Robert.
But they just decapitate anyone.
Karen, give it time. Just a little more time.
I know, but at this point in the story, I'm trying to figure out why is nothing ever trying to kill him? I mean, the wife was a target. It
had to kill the baby first, then they had to kill the wife. Now,
but they killed the
next.
priest.
He's next on the list, Karen.
Well, but he gets home just fine with all of the daggers. Like, why wouldn't the plane go down or something? What?
Karen, you're overthinking it.
It's a plot.
Because we need that final scene. That's why. So Robert gets home. He traps the Roddy in the wine cellar or something.
There's good shadow work there.
Tricks it. And then he goes up and has a moment in the master bedroom.
He's missing Kathy.
Yeah. And he grabs some scissors and then he goes to Damien's room and starts cutting his hair, finds the cluster of sixes tattooed on his scalp.
Well, I just said it's good that he's checking, right? He didn't just kill the kid. He wants to make sure that the sixes are there.
That's true.
Good parenting.
Maybe that's why he hasn't been killed yet. Maybe he's not a believer yet.
And I just wrote, that kid is a sound sleeper. If you could go in and cut your kid's hair and they didn't know it, that's pretty good. But he does see, when he cuts the hair, he sees the birthmark.
Cluster of sixes, and then Blaylock attacks.
Yes, she attacks.
Blaylock attacks.
Tries to choke him. Tells Damien to run.
And they fight, and eventually they end up in the kitchen, and Robert kills her with a knife.
Yes, you think she's down once. You think she's dead, but she comes back. The dog's going nuts in the basement. And then the nanny's dead. Yeah.
Yep. Robert
the second time around.
Damien, throws him into the estate car, Karen, the little Yugo, and leaves his little compound there. And he's driving erratically or something, and the police try to stop him, and he drives right past him. And so they start pursuing Robert.
That's his fatal error.
In the white estate car.
Because if he had just driven normally, he would have accomplished his mission.
Maybe.
Because he drives erratically, the police start following him.
Or maybe Satan drops a tree on him on the way to the church. I don't know.
It's true. But
the police do chase Robert in their Range Rovers, Karen. He's in his little Yugo or whatever it is. He does make it to the church.
He's holding Damien down in the back seat. Damien's freaking out back there.
He makes it to the church, drags Damien up to the altar, Karen. He pulls the first dagger. I believe he says something like, "God, forgive me," or something. And he's getting ready to stab Damien. Just then the police bust in and say, "Stop or I'll fire." I didn't think British cops carried firearms, Karen. I thought they just had billy clubs.
Maybe around politicians.
Ambassadors.
They do. Yeah.
So they see the bullet fire in slow motion. Cut to a funeral, dual funeral, Karen. Kathy and Robert.
21 gun salute.
Yep. And some aide comes up and says, I don't know, addresses someone as Mr. President. I guess it's Jimmy Carter.
The car is ready, and they say, "Give us a moment."
Yes. And we see Damien holding the hand of the first lady. Is the first holding the hand of the first lady? I think he is.
Yeah.
And he turns to the camera and smiles. The end.
He reminds me of AC/DC, Angus Young, like the whole time.
This is a little hat.
Yeah, and his little suit.
All right. What did you love about this film, Karen?
I think the casting was fantastic. The
Oh,
actors,
they're all great.
the actors were amazing.
Gregory Peck.
Well, even who is
Lee
it?
Remick.
Lee Remick. Even the kid. I don't know if he acted after this, but man, he was
didn't.
good.
He didn't after this.
He didn't really have word. He didn't have lines, or but man, he's creepy.
His audition was to attack the director on cue.
He had that mischievous.
And they said he went right for his balls.
Well, he's well trained.
And he yelled cut and he kept going. And then they finally put him off him and said, "That's Damien." He's a blonde kid. They dyed his hair black and put contact lenses in too, they said. But yep, cast is awesome. What else, Karen?
Special effects were good.
Yeah.
Soundtrack was amazing.
Yeah.
Again, would be
Jerry
a
Goldsmith.
different movie without that soundtrack.
Yeah.
You need that. Reminded me of going to a Ghost concert, though. The chanting.
I do use some of the soundtrack in my Halloween display too, actually. I use Ave Satani or whatever it is.
So it had all that creepiness with limited gore and no sex.
No gore.
Well, there's a decapitation.
But there's no blood.
No, but that's gore.
It kind of looks like a dummy's head going off a dummy's body. But it's shot really well. The dummy falls back just like it should with its arms, as a normal, as you would imagine a person would. I mean, who the hell knows? And the way the head spins after it's.
But the fact that they can have that much suspense and horror without anything like that is pretty impressive. Anything you'd like to add to that you liked?
I think it's written great. I think the script is awesome. This film was turned down by every studio. Even the one who eventually took it turned it down at first.
Where is it in relation to The Exorcist?
It was the same time.
After it?
No, it's the exact same time because Warner Brothers was going to do it and they changed the script all around and then they're going, let's not do that because they were doing The Exorcist at the time. And then actually, I think the director was having dinner with the head of Fox and just handed him the script and said, "You got to read this." And he ended up, saying, "Let's do it." When all of his, the people under him turned it down, right? First, he decided to do it.
Is there anything you didn't like?
No, I buy all the way in, Karen.
Well, I think it's a great. I didn't like the weirdo priest. He just couldn't just say what you need to say. I mean, I get later they say he's riddled with cancer.
To the
I didn't.
Suspense.
Didn't do it for me. I mean, some of the prophecies were a little stretched thin.
At the end, we do have the verse, the verse from the Book of Revelations, that pops up on the screen, that everyone knows.
I mean, but they're the sea of whatever means politics. And you're like,
the eternal sea.
Okay. But
that's what theologians say, not the writers. They got that from.
Just seemed a little thin. I mean, it works out and everything's great, but okay.
All right, Karen. What were you disappointed in? Just that
crazy
priest.
Well, it's
Father Brennan.
I get why he's in there, but I was frustrated. I'm like, just tell him. But
in the documentary, they refer to him as a great character actor.
He puts them on the quest, though. He definitely is a needed character.
Yeah, he has his
purpose for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely sequel potential, and I know there were a lot of them.
No, there were two, I would say. There was a third, but it was like a made-for-TV thing. And then there was the remake too. So,
did you see it?
Yeah, yeah.
Is it not even come close?
Nope, doesn't need to be remade, Karen. Nope, it's fine the way it was. We don't need a newer version with. Oh yeah, Julia Stiles. She played Kathy. And Liev Schreiber. He played Robert, but He ain't no fucking Gregory Peck, Karen. I'm sorry.
No one is. No one is.
I don't even know why. Why would you do that?
Money.
All right, whatever. It just says it all right there. Who are you going to get that's better than Gregory Peck? Who?
I got nothing.
I know. And they in the documentary they said that's how they got lots of these good other actors for these, other character parts. Because holy shit, Gregory Peck. Yeah, I'm in. But he wanted to do it. Read the script and wanted to do it. So
it's a good part. It's a meaty part.
you might have gotten points, Karen, since we know what those are now.
For what? Do I know what those are?
Yeah, you don't remember what points are when we did where we did the curse of the blue lights and the actors talked about.
Oh,
you got points. Basically a share of the box office, but
gotcha.
0.5%. But I'm sure Gregory Peck might have got more. Don't know for sure. Yeah, Gregory Peck wanted to do it because he liked that it was more of a psychological thriller than a horror film. I mean, Gregory Peck. What more do I need to say? Karen, it was released June 6th, 1976 in the United States. Or in the UK. It wasn't released till the 25th of June in the US for some reason, which doesn't make any fucking sense to me. That's just stupid. All right. Anything else you were disappointed in?
No. Just the adoption stuff. And the vilifying of Rottweilers. But hey, that's okay.
They're not vilified.
If you
They're shown as great protectors, I would say.
There's protectors of Satan.
This film makes me want to have a Rottweiler.
Well, that's the problem.
To protect my family. Protect my little dog and my wife.
Your little dog might not make it.
Well, he thinks he's a big dog, so whatever. All right, Karen, what kind of cocktail rating are you going to give this? What are you going to give this film, Karen?
Well, I'd give it a 1.5, but I'll give it a 1.
Okay.
Up there with Psycho. I think it's as good as Psycho.
Oh, I think it's as good as Psycho, too.
So
I'll give it a 1. One cocktail. Our second one cocktail, Karen. We still have yet to do one that's a half a cocktail. Will we ever get to that point?
I don't know.
I do have it as an image, but saved just in case.
It's
but
good.
We don't do halves.
I think the soundtrack, even on its own without the movie.
Oh shit! I might give the soundtrack half a cocktail.
Yeah, that's what could get a half a cocktail. It's creepy on its own. I mean, that music, and it's just sinister. I mean, it's so well done, that soundtrack. Very impressive.
Yep.
Great acting. Psychologically makes you think about things. As a parent, having to kill your child. I mean, can you even? It would be so devastating. Talk about psychotic break. I mean, how would you ever do that?
And plus, you get a little religion thrown in there too, Karen. Little scripture.
Yes, but only to point out the devil. It's just interesting all around to try to put yourself in that position. Any parent, no matter how horrible your child is being, it would still be hard. And Damien does say, "No, Daddy, no," when, so he does push the psychology further in the last moments. He's not like frothing at the mouth and, having his head spin around because he's in the church. He makes it difficult for the dad, of course, because he's trying to save himself, but he should have driven calmly out of the compound.
Yeah, all he had to do was obey traffic laws, Karen.
I know.
Simple laws, speed limit.
Different story completely if he had obeyed traffic laws.
Yep.
I thought it had poignant parts when he opens the grave and sees that his child was murdered. That's a devastating thing when she's holding on to the railings, trying not to fall. It's gripping when he loses his head. I mean, there are points in it where they really it's really good movie making. It's emotional, it's visual, the cinematography is not stunning. Nothing that you see is really, it's all kind of bland. There's
I think
not
the sets
vivid,
are good.
yeah, but there's not vivid colors or anything. It's kind of muted.
Muted, yeah.
I don't know if that's on purpose or that was just the quality available at the time. But there are very emotional scenes throughout. Losing the baby in the beginning, it's a roller coaster. And we've spoiled it for you, but if you haven't seen it, there are shocking moments.
What's wrong with you? It's a one cocktail film.
We don't
Everyone
give one.
should see this.
It's true. I'm surprised it's not on more around Halloween.
Or June 6th.
It's true. It should be on every June 6th.
They probably show the stupid remake. All right, Karen, comments on the cocktail?
It's good. It is refreshing.
It is refreshing. Yeah, I like it.
See this movie, everyone.
Yes, and there were, like I said, I say two sequels. There were actually three. But of course, you had Damien, Omen 2, which is good too. It's pretty good. It feels rushed at the end, like a lot of films we do. And then the Omen 3, The Final Conflict, which I really like too. I like that probably better than the Omen 2.
Any of the original actors go back?
No.
Well, they're mostly dead, I guess. So It would be hard. But the kid didn't reprise his role.
No. Because, he's a teenager and he's an adult, And there was the Omen 4, The Awakening, which I don't count. I think it was like a female Damien or some shit like that. I don't know if they did that whole gender reverse thing. I believe. I think it was a TV movie too. Yeah, 1991. A Canadian made-for-television supernatural horror film.
There you go.
Yeah, and it's a little girl. So let's see. It won Academy Award for Best Original Score by Jerry Goldsmith.
Won.
It did win.
Okay.
It was also nominated for Best Original Song, but did not win. The lady who played Mrs. Baylock was nominated for a BAFTA award. That must be some British.
It is. The BAFTAs. Shit. Yeah.
It won for Best Cinematography at the British Society of Cinematographers. Screenplay was nominated for the Edgar Allan Poe Award for Best Screenplay. It was nominated, did not win. Lady who played Baylock did win for Best Actress in the Evening Standard British Films Awards. It was nominated for a Golden Globe, the Best Acting Debut Male for The Kid. It was nominated for a Grammy for the score. Nominated Saturn Awards, Best Horror Film, and it won for Best Actor in a Horror Film with Gregory Peck. And then the Writers Guild of America, it was nominated for Best Original Screenplay by David Seltzer. Did not win. There you go.
Excellent pick.
I know. All right. Anything we learned today?
We learned about
Rottweilers.
Ambassador salaries. Your ability to break through plate glass windows. How to get baboons really pissed off. How a head spins when you cut it with a piece of glass.
You can't help but watch this film and learn a little scripture. And in the documentary, even they talk about you can't help but walk into this film, watch it, and leave a little different person.
Meaning what?
Meaning you just leave a different person than when you enter.
In what way?
I don't know.
You're so affected by it?
Could be. You don't know. The devil's child could be out there right now, and it could be a little baby, Karen. What are you going to do? Are you going to kill it?
I'd have a hard time. I don't think I could do it, especially if it was my child.
All right, Karen, I believe the next film is your choice. Is it? Is it not?
It is.
Okay. So the next film comes out August. We're in August, Karen. August the 3rd, episode 67. The day after Wes Craven's birthday, Karen. What film are we going to do?
Well, it doesn't have anything to do with Wes Craven.
Okay, go on.
It's a pendulum swing in the totally opposite direction
From Wes Craven? Oh, or from The Omen?
From The Omen.
I'm not sure I'm going to like it, but go on.
I don't know if you'll like it either, but it's from 1959.
Oh, 1959. So far, so good.
It's called The Wasp Woman.
The Wasp Woman.
Yeah.
Is that Wasp capital W, capital A, capital S?
No.
Capital P? Oh, so it's not the white Anglo-Saxon.
No. Protestant. No, it's not.
Okay. The Wasp Woman.
Yep.
Okay. Singular woman. Is that available on anything besides YouTube, Karen?
I hope so.
Do you have a cocktail?
I do.
Okay.
It's called a stinger.
A stinger. What are we going to need?
1 3/4 ounces of brandy.
Ooh, okay.
And 3/4 ounce of white creme de menthe.
Okay.
Sounds horrible to me, but that's it.
No mixer, Karen?
Nope.
All alcohol.
Yep.
Okay.
Apparently it was very popular during Prohibition and then got it had a rebirth or something in the 70s, but it's a common, people know what it is.
Okay.
I've heard of it, but I didn't know what was in it. And they said it doesn't sound like it would be good, but it's good.
That's simple. I could go make one of those right now. Just 2 ingredients?
Yep. And ice. They say crushed ice.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we'll compare and contrast. This is going to pale in comparison to The Omen, but I like the groovy ones,
You're so groovy, Karen. All right. Anyone you need to thank this week, Karen, besides our listener?
Our listener always deserves to be thanked, Greg. Always. They could choose from one of any number of podcasts, and they choose us.
A plethora of podcasts.
Exactly. So thank you for listening. What about you? Who do you need to thank?
Well, once again, I need to thank the band Verse 13 for letting us use their music in the podcast.
Music makes the podcast better.
Yep. Their information is linked in the show notes. Anything else, Karen?
Please drink responsibly.
Yes.
Thanks for listening to the Scary Spirits podcast, where the movies might be iffy, but the drinks are always solid. We would love to hear from you. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Scary Spirits Podcast, or go to our website, scaryspirits.com. And if you want the direct line, email us at info@scaryspirits.com. If you really want to help us out, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And remember, always drink responsibly. See you next week.